Vicky, and today I'm here to do a book tag, and this one's kind of exciting because it's a book tag that you can only do every 4 years when there's a leap year, and that is the leap year book tag. And I did this tag 4 years ago because, in case you guys didn't know, 2024 is a leap year, so we get an extra day this month in February. So yeah, I thought it would be fun to revisit this tag and see what my answers are. So I don't off the top of my head know who the original creator was, but I will link it down below along with the questions in case you were interested. And yeah, let's dive in. So the first question is an extra day. What is one book that brought a little something extra? And for that, I'm gonna go with The Only Plane in the Sky by Garrett M. Graff. This is an oral history of 9/11. And for me, this book was obviously very emotional in the first place, but I listened to it on audio and it had a full cast and it was just so emotional, so engrossing. I cried so many times reading this book, just sort of reliving that day with the people that were directly affected by the attacks. It was just so heartbreaking, and this book was put together so well, and the audiobook was also just fantastic. So for me, it was just that extra something was listening to the audiobook. It just gave you, I don't know, a little something extra. Question number 2 is taking a big leap. What is one book that you are or were afraid to read? And this one I'm going to go with one that I am afraid to read that I have not read yet, and that is The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas. And I think the reason that this book intimidates me is just because of the length. I've heard that it is a really good story, a great like revenge plot, but the length, it's just sort of intimidating because it's a classic and it's chunky. So that's sort of a double whammy, but it's one that I definitely plan to tackle. It's just, I'm a little nervous about it. Question 3 is every 4 years, what is the 4th book you read this year? And the 4th book I read this year in 2024 is Heartstopper Volume 5 by Alice Oseman, and I really enjoyed it. It was a, I think, 4-star read. I absolutely love the Heartstopper series, and I'm really sad that the next volume is going to be the last one. I just love Nick and Charlie's love story and everything about it, actually. I love the artwork, all of it. It's just, it's great. It's very, I don't know, it warms my heart. I love it. And I'm sad that the series is coming to an end. So the 4th question is 366 days in the year. Looking at your 3rd shelf, name the 6th book on that shelf and name the 6th book after that. So what I did was I kind of like looked at it horizontally and went down 1, 2, 3, and I started all the way on the left and counted 6 over. And the first book that I got for that was The Memory Keeper's Daughter by Kim Edwards, and this is one, I read this book so long ago. I don't think I was even, I think I was in college. I think I was still living at home. Yeah, 2005 was when it was published, so I probably read it somewhere between 2005 and 2009, so I don't remember a whole lot about this, but I've kept it all these years. Maybe I should reread it just to refresh my memory. But then the other one, when I counted 6 more over, I got to The Things They Carried by Tim O'Brien, and this one I read fairly recently, in the last couple of years, and this one was really good. It's kind of a collection of stories all centered around a particular platoon fighting in the Vietnam War. And the first story is called The Things They Carried, and I remember just being super affected by it and thinking it was just phenomenally written, and it was a 5-star. The rest of the book, I think I ended up giving this like a 4, 4.5 or something like that. It was very good, very good. If you are at all interested in books about Vietnam, definitely check this one out. Okay, question 5 is leaping ahead. Name 4 books that you want to read by the next leap year. So, the first one I picked is The Toll by Neil Shusterman because I need to finish this series. And actually there is technically a book after this one. It's called Gleanings, but it's a short story collection, but it ties into this whole world. And yeah, this, this series is really cool. And the second book, especially the way that that book finished, I was so sure. I ordered this book right away and I was so sure I was going to read it immediately, and yeah, it didn't happen. But this is a crazy series dealing with a future world where people can't die. So they have these people that go around and have to basically do population control, and they kill people. And when these people kill you, you really die. And it just centers around these two teens that are training to become scythes. And it's great. It's a great series, and I need to finish it. So in the next 4 years, if I don't finish this, I don't know what I'm doing. Another one that I would like to finish sooner rather than later is the opposite of Spoiled: Raising Kids Who Are Grounded, Generous, and Smart About Money by Ron Lieber. And this one, I feel like the clock is ticking for me because, you know, my kids are 9 and 6, and I really was hoping I would have read this a lot sooner. You know, teaching them about money and saving and things like that, because, you know, I want my kids to grow up and be financially responsible. So I thought this book would be a good one to read. So I feel like I should probably read it soon because they're not getting any younger, you know? The next one is Liberation Day by George Saunders. This is a short story collection, and I want to read this one soon because it was an anticipated release for me. Was it last year? I can't remember if this was 2023 or if it was 2022. Let me look because I'm curious now. It was 2022. I read his last collection, 10th of December, and I loved it. I thought it was so good. And so I immediately picked this one up when it came out, and I haven't read it yet. So I really want to read it because I adored his last collection. So that's pretty much why I want to read it. And then the last one is a classic that I am almost ashamed to say I've never read. And that's why I should probably read it in the next 4 years. And that is Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. I know. How did I not read this in school? It was just one of those ones, we just didn't read it. For some reason, we did not read it in school, and I've never read it. I sort of know the gist, I think. And to be honest, I have never read any Ray Bradbury, which I know is like a crime. I need to remedy that. Okay, and then question 6 is Leapfrog. Name a book on your TBR that has green in it. And this one's pretty green. It is Far from the Madding Crowd by Thomas Hardy. It's got green here and here, and then lots of greeny trees and such. This is a classic that it's on my 100 Upper Reads poster. I've actually pulled it once before, and I picked something else. For some reason, whatever the other choice was, I just thought it was more interesting. So this is, you know, eventually going to show up on my 100 Upper Reads again, and I don't really remember anything about it. Okay, and then question 7 is Bad Luck. What bookish things do you steer clear from? And this one is kind of tough because I actually went back and looked at my video from 2020 because I wasn't sure what I said. And it's funny because the things that I said I've actually have now read and am maybe not as likely to steer clear from anymore. The first thing I said was romance books, or any book where the main plot is a love story. And I've actually sort of opened up a little bit to reading romance books. I'm actually reading a romance book right now. I'm reading Book Lovers by Emily Henry. And so, yeah, my tastes have changed a little bit. I would say I'm not still like a diehard romance fan, but when I'm in the mood for it, you know, I'll go for it. And then the other thing I said was anything that is gratuitously violent or extremely violent. And we know that I, in the past few years, have read some pretty intense books, but I would say that still rings pretty true for me. When I did read those, very extreme books, I read The Girl Next Door by Jack Ketchum, and that book like wrecked me. It was very violent, very icky. And also Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke by Eric LaRocca was also pretty intense for me, pretty gross. And I would say that those books were good, but I think I still steer clear of them. I just don't like a lot of blood and guts and yucky stuff. And I think the only thing I might add to this, something I steer clear from, I'm still a little shy about fantasy. I think when the world building gets to be too much, I sort of get lost. And I know that's what most people love about fantasy, is getting completely absorbed in this other world and the way it functions and everything. And for me though, I struggle with that, and I still struggle with that. And I still am sort of shy about fantasy and haven't quite become a believer, I guess, with fantasy yet. Who knows though? If I do this tag again in 4 years, who knows? By then I might be a diehard fantasy fan. You never know. All right, so that is the leap year book tag. Please let me know down below how you would answer some of these questions, because I would love to know. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will chat with you soon. Thank you so much for watching.